Okay, babies. So this is the start of a new lesson. So make sure you follow the instructions in your notebook and you take these notes and do your thing with them. All right, so we're going to talk about a translation. We're going to talk about a translation. So the standard wants us to develop definitions of rotations, reflections, and translations in terms of angles, circles, perpendicular lines, parallel lines, and segments. And we're going to actually perform these transformations in the plane. So these are our two standards. So what you're going to learn is how to translate a figure in the coordinate plane on a grid. Our key vocabulary, make sure you're writing these in your notebook. So a translation means to slide. It's a slide. Up, you can go up, down, left, or right. It's whatever you want. It's a slide. A mapping is when you move from one point to another point. A mapping means to input a letter or input a value to get an output. All right, a horizontal translation means to slide to um, the left or right. And a vertical translation means to slide up or down. Okay? There is a word we need to add here too. So add this word, a pre-image is the figure before the transformation. Make sure you add this word in. And I'm going to go down here. And I want you to add in image is the figure after the transformation. And the transformation we're going to work with this video is a translation. Okay? And normally I'll show you what the notation looks like in the video and in the next one. So your homework is make sure you're doing it right now. So you good. All right. So here the directions are write in words the mapping, graph and label the pre-image, and graph the image. All right, so you have three parts to do here. So the answer to part one, and make sure you're writing this in your book. So part one is to write the mapping in words. This is a mapping right here. And I'm going to input these values into here to get an output. So this mapping means this X is going to map to this X. That means, well, this part right here. Let me highlight. This is going to map to this. So this is telling me to slide horizontally two spaces, and since that's a plus, we're going to go to the right. Okay, and it wants me to do this for all these points. So it says graph and label the pre-image. So if I go here, I'm going to graph 2, 0. So this is 2 right here, and I'm going by ones, 2, 0. And then it tells me, so I'm going to call that A. Then I'm going to go to 4, 0. So 2, 3, 4, 0. I'm going to call that B. And then it tells me to go to 2, negative 2. So that's here. I'm going to call that C. And then D tells me to go to 3 and negative 4. So 3 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's D. So if I connect those dots, then I get this type of shape. All right, and that's called my pre-image. So I did this one, and I did this. Now it says to graph the image, so I'm going to follow instructions. Well, the X I need to add 2 to. So if I insert in, let me change that color. If I insert in 2 zeros, y'all excuse that, I'm sorry. So I get 2 plus 2, and then it tells me to do nothing to the Y. It says don't change the Y. They're exactly the same. So that means my Y stays 0. So my new figure is going to be 4, 0. So that means A prime is going to be 4, 0. So now I'm going to go and do B prime, and I get 4, 0, and it tells me that was my original. That's my pre-image. And now my image needs to be 4 plus 2, and the Y, it says to do nothing to, it stays the same. So my new value here is going to be 6 comma 0. So my pre-image was 4, 0, and my image is 6, 0. Okay, to get C prime, that means I'm going to put 2, that 2, 2, which is a pre-image, is going to get mapped over to 2 plus 2, and the Y stays a negative 2, and that becomes 4, negative 2. And then D prime, that was, the pre-image was 3, 4. So if I do 3, yeah, plus 2, and then the Y stays the same, so comma negative 4, then that breaks down to 5, negative 4. Okay, so now I'm going to go graph my my images, and I'm going to put them in light blue. So 6, 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's A prime. And then the next one was 4, 0, 2, 3, 4. And then negative 2. So that is B prime. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Yeah, it's 4, 0. Oh, wait, I'm graphing it wrong. It's 6, 0. Okay, let me do that again. I knew something looked strange. And I'm going to tell you guys how I checked this. So this should be 6, 0. So this is 4. Okay, so I graphed A prime wrong. And if you notice, I am making mistakes. Math makes mistakes. And if you make mistakes, that's fine too. I'm modeling my thinking to you. In math, you make mistakes. You got a pencil, erase, and keep going, babies. So my A prime should have been 4, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my A prime and my B were the same. Okay, now I need 6 and 0 for my B prime. So 4, 5, 6. That's B prime. And then right here is C prime. So we're going to go 4 and then down 2. That's C prime. And then D prime would have been 5 and negative 4. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to show you how I knew I was making a mistake. I'm going to show you how I knew that something wasn't right. Okay, so here's how I knew. Because it told me to take all of the X values and slide them over by 2. So if A is right here, 1, 2, this should be A prime. If B was right here, then B prime should have been 1, 2. If C is right here, 1, 2. If D is right here, 1, 2. So you can do it either way. The orange is what we call the pre-image, and the blue is called the image. Okay? So you can either input the values or you can just slide, because you know this is a translation. All right, so let's go to the next one. Okay, it says write in words the mapping, and then graph and label the pre-image, and then graph the image. So this time I have 3 points. So I'm going to do the first part first. The wording for this is this is a mapping, and this is with the X is going to stay the same, and the Y is going to go up to. So this is what we call a vertical a vertical, y'all. Okay, I'm coming. Vertical shift, and since that's plus, up two spaces. Sorry about that, guys. A vertical shift up two spaces. All right, so that was the first one. Okay, the second one says graph and label the pre-image. So I'm going to go ahead and graph these points. So that's on the negative side, this is the X, and this is the Y. And remember, just like your ABCs, X runs, Y goes up and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's -4 and -1. That's my A. And then -1, -2, that's my B. And then -4 and -3, 1, 2, 3, that is my C. Okay? So that is my pre-image. Now, I did that one. Okay, so number 2 is done. Now I'm going to go and graph the image. I got to do a little work to get the image though. So my A prime wants me to keep the Y the same and then keep the X the same and add 2 to the Y value. All right, so that means I need to do negative. Well, that means I need to change this -4, -1, map that to keep the -4, and then the -1, -1 plus 2, and then that maps to -4. And if you messed up your negative and positive numbers, then grab your calculator. -1 plus 2 is a -1. So that means A prime is this value right here. So my A prime is this after I do the math. Okay, now let's go do my B prime. I'm starting at -1 and -2. I'm going to do the mapping. It says to keep the X the same and then add 2 to the Y. So -2 plus 2. When I do that math, I get -1 and 0 because -2 plus 2 is 0. And you can grab your calculator if you need some help with that math. So B prime is this value right here. Alrighty. And now C prime was -4 and -3. Well, the pre-image was -4, -3. Now I need to do the math, keep the X the same, and then I need to go in here and change the Y to -3 plus 2. Okay, and then we get -4. -3 plus 2 is -1. And if you need help, grab a calculator to help you with the math. So C prime is this value right here. Now I did all that math, I'm going to go here to the graph. And I'm going to graph this in orange, guys. So my A prime is now -4. So -4. And did I graph this right? -4, and I was supposed to plus 2. Oh, so -1 plus 2 is plus 1. Ooh, guys. Okay. So -4 and +1. There we go. Okay, so I messed up the math right here. And you probably already caught it when I did it the first time. Alright, so that is my A prime. My B prime is -1 and 0. And then my C prime is -4 and -1. Did I do the math wrong again? Let me go check. So -3 plus 2 is -1. So -4 and -1. There we go. And that's my C prime. I'm going to show you guys once again how I was able to check. I was able to check where I was messing up at because I noticed something wasn't right with this. I'm going to show you how I was able to check. Because I knew that the A was supposed to slide up 2 spaces. So at A, I was supposed to go 1, 2. I was supposed to slide up 2. And then at B, I was supposed to slide up 2. And then at C, I was supposed to slide up 2. And you notice that these are what we call rigid transformations. They don't change their shape or their sizes. They stay exactly the same. Yet they just change positions on the coordinate plane. All right. Let's see if there's another one. Okay, so now let's try it out. Well, we have both. Sorry about that, guys. Um, I'm actually doing this at home for you guys, so sorry about the alarm. Okay, so here it says write the mapping in words. So the first one means here. Okay, so here's the pre-image and here's what happens to the image. So we're going to shift horizontally to the right. So we're going to shift horizontally to the right, 2. And then we're going to go vertically up, down, 2. Okay, because the Y goes up, down, and the X goes left, right. Okay, so we wrote that down. So number 2 tells us to graph. So number 2 tells us to graph and label. All right, so here's my A. So -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -4, 1 is my A. So I'm graphing my pre-image. -1, -2 is B. And then -4 and 3, 2, 3 is my C. So this is my pre-image. All right, so now it wants me to graph my image. So to get the image, so I need to get A prime. Then I need to take that -4, -1, and it needs to get mapped to where I put the -4 in and add 2 to it. And then I put the -1 in and -2 from it, which when I do the math, we get -4 plus 2 is -2, and -1 minus 2 is -3. And you can grab your calculator if you need help with that math. All right, so this is what the image is going to be after that. And then we can always check on the graph to make sure it's right. B prime is -1, -2, and that gets mapped to -1, add 2 to the X, and then -2 minus 2 from the Y. So if my math is correct, that would be 1 and -4. -2 minus 2, or you could say -2 plus a -2 is a -4. And if all else fails, you can Google a decimals calculator or any kind of calculator, and that'll help you get the math right. So -4 and -3 is my C prime, well my C, and in order to get the prime, I gotta take -4, add 2 to it, and then take the -3 and minus 2 from it. And if I do my math correctly, I get -2 minus 5. And you can grab a calculator, and we're going to check on the graph to make sure we are good. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and graph this image, and I'm going to do it in red or burgundy. So it should be, the A prime should be -2, okay, and -3, 1, 2, 3. That's my A prime, and I'm going to check. I was supposed to go to the right 2, and then down 2, 1, 2. Yep, I did it. And then my B prime should be 1 and -4. So that's my X is 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my B prime, and I'm going to check. I was supposed to go 1, 2, and then down 1, 2. So I'm good. And then my C prime should be -2 and -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my C prime. And let me go check on my C. I was supposed to go to the right 2 and down 2. And I did it. So that one I didn't mess up the math on. And if you make mistakes, babies, it's okay. Just erase and do it again. It's no worries. Just erase. Make sure you do it with a pencil, erase, and do it again. And you can always check by counting. Okay, let me make sure that was the last one I was supposed to do with you guys. Yep, that was the last one I was supposed to do. So you have, I think, how many more problems? One, two, three practice problems to do on your own. Put it in your book creator book. And I will see you in class. I think, yeah, I'll see you guys in class. Bye.